Hello. The speech will be about the operationalization of attack framework for security operation centers. And today I will present to you the Atomic Threat Coverage project, which is free, open source, available on the GitHub, and I'm working on it with a few of my friends. So who am I, who we are? My name is Mateusz. I'm working as incident responder in Tieto in Poland. Originally, this presentation is supposed to be conducted together with Daniil Yugoslavskiy, who works as head of threat detection in Syndicator in Russia. Unfortunately, he was not able to get here, so I will present alone, and presentation will be a bit shorter. And we also have two other colleagues, Jakub Weinzel, who works as threat detection specialist in Tieto, Poland, and Mikhail Aksenov, working as automation team lead in BruCON, Russia. Okay, so first question. Please raise your hand if you are familiar with intelligence-driven defense. Okay, I can see some hands. So basically, it has really straightforward assumptions. Know your enemy. If you want to be able to defend yourself, you have to know how adversary operates, what are their strengths, and what are their weaknesses. It is very popular in military, although in cybersecurity it wasn't that popular a few years back from now, but it changed. When in May 2015, Mateusz Corporation released the attack framework, which operates based on this approach and is the threat model. So I'm pretty sure that most of you guys are familiar with this one, but just to be sure that we are on the same page, more or less that's how it looks like. This is the enterprise matrix from this framework, and we have the 12 columns which represent the tactical objective, and inside the cells we have the technical implementation to achieve the tactical goals. So quite simple. Columns are the tactics, in cells we have the techniques. That's how sample technique looks like. This is exfiltration over alternative protocol. We have the description, some of the example of usage, and high-level description of mitigation and detection for this specific technique. However, there are some problems, mostly operationalization problems. So description from MITRE attack is too high level. It's not actionable, so you cannot simply take this page, pass it to your team and ask for, please guys, could you detect these activities or could you mitigate it? The second thing is kind of consequence of the first problem, which is lack of ability to explain requirements. So it does not provide us the information what exactly we have to configure, how to configure it, and where to configure it. Another problem is reporting to the leadership. So what is the current coverage? What is the progression when when you decide to work with the MITRE attack framework? So the problem of coverage is currently in the community there is no common definition of what the coverage really is. When you can say that you already covered the technique and you can go to the next one. So our view on this looks like this. So basically there are 4 pillars which have to be fulfilled to be able to say that yes, we are covering the technique. Those are the simulation, detection, response, and mitigation. And only if you have the entities related to those pillars, you can say that yes, I am covering the technique, or at least the known usage of the technique. So we implemented this kind of the approach, but we want to build a tool which will allow us to do more things in an automatable way. So less manual job, more automation. And we set a few requirements for ourselves. First of all, plain text files. This has some historical reasons. When we initially implemented this approach, we were using the Confluence for storing the knowledge base, and it required from us a lot of manual job when we were editing something or when we were adding the new entities. So we wanted to make it simple. And as I said, we wanted to make it as automated as possible, so automate almost everything. Regarding those 4 pillars, we have the entities which are related to those, and I would like to quickly show you what we choose or what we've built for those purposes. So when it comes to the simulation, we decided to use Atomic Red Team project. This project was already mentioned yesterday. So this is the tool for emulation of the adversary. What's cool is that it also has the execution frameworks. So you can define the list of the tests which you would like to execute and quickly execute all of them on the test system to check how to check what you are able to detect or what you can mitigate. That's how simple trigger looks like. So we have the mapping to MITRE ATT&CK, which is really important for us, and we have the tests, which consist basically of the commands which will be executed on the test systems. So once we are able to emulate the adversary, we would like to detect it. And for this, we decided to use the Sigma format. Sigma is a generic signature format for the CM systems, and is getting really popular right now. And the concept is quite simple. So there is the Sigma format in which you are storing the rules, and there is the Sigma converter, which can convert those rules into the queries for multiple search systems like Elasticsearch, Splunk, QRadar, ArcSight, basically many of them. And that's how it looks like. We have the rule with the simple description. We have the tagging for the attack matrix, and we have the conditions which are necessary to match for the rule to trigger on some specific event. So now we need a data which could be analyzed by this rule. And to store information about the data, we decided to create the data needed entities. Again, simple YAML format. We have here the sample of the log, the fields which are inside, where it comes from, so what is the source. And there is another problem, because a lot of logs are not produced by default. So you have to configure something, and to track this information, you also have the reference to the logging policy here. And that's how logging policy looks like. So sample, step-by-step configuration, what has to be configured and where to be able to collect the data. When it comes to Security Operations Center, especially in the managed service providers, you may want to track what we are collecting and what is implemented per customers. So another simple entity which you can use for tracking. And when it comes to the internal security teams, this might be not external customer, but some group of the hosts or even some specific server. If you want to go further, you may want to enrich the data. And to store information, how to do this, we also have the enrichment entities. So again, simple description, requirements for the enrichment. If it adds new fields, they are also listed here. And the config which is needed for the enrichment will be also presented inside such entity. When it comes to the response part, we are using the small response actions with the workflow, what to do in case of the response. Response playbooks are built with those response actions, so they are just small building blocks which are used here. So you can reuse same response action in multiple playbooks, and if you will update one of your response sections, all of the playbooks will be also updated. And yeah, also some other information here like tags, information about the severity, PLP, PAP, and so on. Okay, so more or less that's how our tool looks like under the hood. So the entities in the YAML format, which I just showed you, are ingested into the Python scripts. There, with some black magic, everything is mapped to each other and calculated, and the dependencies between the entities are calculated. And then this data is exported to multiple format, which can be analyzed or ingested into other platforms. And following our make it simple principle, we decide to use simple Linux make utility for orchestrating the usage of our tool. So with one simple command, most of the things will be generated. So the underlying submodules like Sigma or Atomic Red Team will be updated. And since those are added as the submodules, if you have your own local fork of those projects with some built-in house rules or the triggers, you can attach your own fork of those projects. It will set up the Confluence and the Markdown repository and push data there as for the knowledge base. And the Confluence is not the requirement. Exactly the same data will be presented in both of those formats. It will create the attack navigator profiles, which can be further analyzed. The playbooks will be exported to the Hive templates, and I will show to you how it looks like in the moment. And the data will be also exported to Elasticsearch Index, so you can do further analysis inside the Kibana. Okay, and time for a small demo. Okay. So yeah, once you will upload all of the data to the Confluence, and as I mentioned, same data can be reviewed in the Markdown files, you will get the tree with folders for all of the entities and their human readable in the human readable format. So let's take a look at sample detection rule, how it looks like here. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we have the table with the metadata, and all of the links here are, let's say, clickable. So they will take you straight to the related entities. So this can be easily used as the knowledge base. And in the bottom, you will find the original unmodified Sigma rule and generated queries. And this part is configurable, so if you are using one system but not another and you want to save some resources, in the configuration you can choose in which queries you are interested. Okay, so just for demo purposes, here we can go to the page with the data needed. Again, nicely rendered. Raw example here. So you can pass this page to CM team or data engineers to show them what exactly they should expect. And link to the login policy. So with one click, you have exact configuration, what to do to collect such data. Okay, and let's go back to the detection rule for a moment. Here it will also automatically create the link to the Atomic Red Team test for this technique. And in current version, it's only matched based on the technique. So it might occur that inside the trigger there will be no actual trigger for this rule, but since MITRE recently announced the submodules, not submodules but sub-techniques, we believe that with these sub-techniques it will be much easier to assign the correct triggers. So yeah, here is the human readable with some HTML tags. But yeah, here's the human readable version of the trigger, so you have the quick access to the commands if you would like to perform some kind of the testing. Okay, and let's take a look how sample response playbook looks like. So again, similar fashion, nicely rendered table. All of the links are clickable here. But the response actions will be also rendered in the bottom. So yeah, it's a good for the knowledge base, but such playbooks are not really actionable. So we are also exporting them in the format which might be imported to the Hive platform. If you are not familiar with this is the case management platform. It was built by incident responders for incident responders. And it's pretty awesome. It has a lot of possibilities for the automation and integration with another projects like Cortex or MISP. So if you are, and it's free and open source. So if you are looking for a good incident management platform, you may want to take a look at this one. Okay, so here we can import the template which was created by ATC. Okay, and all of the response actions now will be just as tasks here. And additionally, the information about severity and so on will be pre-populated here. So if we will create the sample case based on this template, just test. Create case, yeah, so that's how case now looks like. We have the description, and in the tasks, all of the response actions are the tasks, so you can assign it to yourself or assign it to someone from your team and start working on case having the pre-built template for it. Okay, and when it comes to the measuring the coverage, I've mentioned that we are exporting data to the attack navigator profile. So the tool is available on the internet, but the code is also published on the GitHub, so you can spin up your own instance of this inside your environment. So you can import existing template. And yeah, for now, as you can see, we are exporting, we are creating the profiles per customers, and one general with all of the data from the project. So let's import this one, and here we go. We have highlighted all of the techniques for which we already have some kind of the rules. This is really good for the gap analysis if you want to measure your coverage from detection point of view. Or when you have to present your progression to the higher management. Okay, and the last demo. I also mentioned that we are exporting data to Elasticsearch Index, which can be then ingested to ELK instance. And this one also might be used for this one also might be used for reporting to higher management or measuring your current progression. So this is the sample dashboard. It was built based on all publicly available Sigma rules for the Windows systems. We've created this one on 24th of September, so it's quite up to date. So some of the sample analysis which might be showed here. Okay, so first of all, we see how much rules we have per different tactics. Another thing is just a sample analysis is the distribution of detection rules implemented per customer. So we can easily track how many of rules which you've developed are already implemented in some environments and which are just inside your organization and you are not detecting anything with them. Another thing is the distribution of data needed providers. So which data sources provides you ability to implement more rules. And you can easily see that almost half of the publicly available Sigma rules currently are based on the Sysmon data, once almost 44% is based on the Microsoft Windows security auditing logs. Another thing is distribution of detection rules per data, distribution of the detection rules severity per data needed providers. So here you can also easily see that Sysmon is not only does not only allows you to implement more of the rules, but it will allows you to detect more critical stuff. So if you have this conversation with higher management to install Sysmon or not to install Sysmon, this might be used as a good point in such argument. Okay, another distribution is the detection rules development status. So it's easy to track which rules are still in experimental phase, and you have to test them, which are ready for production and might be implemented. Okay, and in the bottom, just the list of the detection rule authors, top 10 of them, and top 10 data needed. So here you can easily see that Sysmon process creation is on the first place. The second one is the Windows process creation with the command line. Okay, and let's go to the presentation. So some of the conclusions, what we achieved. Currently we have the MITRE attack detailed enough for the operationalization. So we can take the technique and we can easily find which data we need to detect it, how to collect this data, what has to be configured to be able to detect it, and so what are the mitigation systems which we might want to use for the mitigation. We are using analytics as a code, so because we are working only with plain text YAML files, we can use version tracking systems like GitHub or GitLab to track our progression and see what was changed in the rules or in other entities. We have total automation, so all of the exports, mapping, uploads and updates now are made with one simple command. And as I mentioned before that, a lot of this stuff we were doing manually, and it was taking a lot of time. So now we have more time to focus on more important things. We are able to visualize existing analytics for analysis. So as I showed you with sample dashboard inside Kibana, we can easily represent what is our progression and show it to our higher management. We also have automated coverage representation, so those MITRE navigator profiles. Currently we are generating them only from the detection point of view, but soon we will also generate the profiles for mitigation and mitigation response and simulation point of view. And actually that's the first thing on our list of ongoing works. The second thing is the full Sigma support. So currently we have all of the data which is needed for covering all of the Windows-based rules, but we are also working on the Linux part and network. So probably soon we will be able to say that we are fully covering the current rule set from the Sigma. We also initiated the Open Security Collaborative Development Sprint, and if you are interested in that one, there is a link pointing to the page with more information. So basically this will be activity on the HackLu conference in Luxembourg in 10 days, if I remember correctly, and it will focus on improving the existing Sigma rules and creating new detection rules based on existing and new research. We are also discussing the collaboration with the OSCEM project. OSCEM project is the project from Roberto Rodriguez, which deals with data dictionary. So it's kind of similar to what we have in our data needed. So to not duplicate the work, we are looking for some kind of the collaboration on this part. We would also like to split projects into modules, because if you will go to our GitHub page right now, the README is like extremely long. It has detailed information about everything, and we would like to split it. And for now, mitigation systems are just the submodule, so all information is in submodule. So it will also allow some kind of the integration if someone would like to use only part of the project. We also have the ongoing conversation with MISP regarding integration with the MISP Galaxy project. And we are working on the web application with API, so our project could be queried by different projects or individuals for some of our entities or our analytics. So yeah, we are warmly welcome any kind of the feedback or suggestions. So if you have any, you can contact us. If you would like to contribute, we also have the list of the open issues on the GitHub. Demo page of the Confluence, which I showed you, is available on the internet, so you can find it under the first link if you would like to see how it looks like. Same goes for demo of the dashboards in Kibana. This is also available in the internet. This is the second link, and you have to authenticate there. And we also have Twitter, so if you want to follow the project, from time to time we are publishing there some information. So yeah, if anyone has any question, I'm ready to answer. Okay, seems that there are no questions, so thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy the rest of the conference.